Boom! This is the superior Tyler on the left. And here are some things that I like doing. And this is also Tyler. Boom, we're back, and today we have some no-gi, and we have a YouTube fan who's been on the channel before, but he wanted to come back and train with me again. We have the white belt Tyler versus the black belt Tyler. Let's see how he does today. What are you going to learn today? Well, the first thing is you're going to learn how stylish I look with this rash guard that you too can get in my link in the description. You're also going to learn that if the white belt is not bent, then it's not a large challenge. Tyler is starting off fancy, and he did a rolling attack trying to grab my leg or knee looking for a potential footlock, and then he's driving in towards the single. I bring my left leg up and I have one hand around his chin. I'm looking towards the guillotine, but I'm not looking for the submission. Here's the trick. If they have their hands defending your hands because they're trying to hand fight, that means they don't have any hands on your legs, meaning my legs can move freely. I'm going to use this against him and start rolling him over as if I'm going towards mount. He is starting to defend a little bit, so I'm using the reverse hook that I've mentioned many times recently, and I'm going to use this to go around him to start working towards side control / knee mount. The way that he is defending this position, it would be a very easy time for me to use a gift wrap and to abuse his position. I do grab the gift wrap. I'm not going to be looking to take his back with this. Instead, I'm transitioning to the head and arm choke. Now, when I'm going for this head and arm choke, he is defending nicely by answering the phone. The weird thing is that I recognize the voice on the other end. It was his mom. You have to remember that in this head and arm choke, that is the same arm that I separated my shoulder by squeezing too hard, which is completely ridiculous, but I'm not going to have that happen again. So I'm not going to squeeze too much here, and this allows him to start turning away. Once he's able to turn away, however, I use this to take advantage of him. I'm going to let him turn, and I'm going to start throwing my hooks in. I throw the first hook in first, then the second hook in second. Then I'm going to introduce him to a brand new world of pain, because remember, I said that if he wants to train with me, he should get the full black belt experience, and I love to put people in the figure four. I tap quite a few people just with this squeeze, and it's not always my intention to tap people. I just like to apply a lot of pressure so they don't feel comfortable when I'm on their back. I'm also looping over his neck and under the arm. This makes it so he cannot turn away towards his left shoulder. He has to turn in towards his right shoulder if he wants to turn at all. If they turn in towards the right, that's when you can apply a guillotine, which is a very special move that I like to save for special occasions. Remember, I have to use my right arm against his neck because this creates a ton of pressure if he wants to try looking out towards the left. It only gives them one correct way that they can go. Now, when he's starting to scoot up, I decide instead I'm going to take this mount position and get his neck out of there so he doesn't have to feel that pain anymore. I truly am a charitable black belt, just like his mom told him when he was on the phone. The next step about being a good partner and good black belt is to let them work a little bit. I'm sitting here on mount and I have both my hands planted on the mat. I'm not going for any immediate attacks. I'm letting him work a little bit so he can work on his shrimping, framing, etc., trying to see what he's going to do from here. As he starts to turn out, I bring my shin over his stomach so I'm ready to move when I can feel that he's also moving. He gives me his back once again, and I'm not going to say no to some free back control. Again, I'm rolling him towards his side so I can break him down a little bit, and this time I bring my right arm in. With the right arm in, now I can focus on the chokes and I can focus on the figure four doing a lot more damage, because if he tries to commit to defending the figure four, he's going to give up on the choke. I set this choke up with just a little bit of hand fighting. I bring my left hand in to cover his hands, and then I go towards the gable grip. Now if you have a figure four, you have to make sure to extend them one way and choke them the opposite direction. It adds a ton of pressure to the spine, but it's also going to choke them. Also, watch Mike get swept in the background really easily by Brock. Now this would be a good time for my question of the day, and my question is, what advice do you have for Tyler? You're watching him roll with me, and you can feel free to comment below after the video what you think he should do to improve on his jiu-jitsu. You have to remember he's not been training that long. It's only been a few months, so he's doing a pretty nice job by coming out here to train with me and get a lot more exposure to the sport. Speaking of, I get this question all the time asking where I'm located. Just so everybody has this answer, I'm located in St. Cloud, Minnesota at Start Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And if you ever want to come out here, that's completely fine. As long as you pay your drop-in fee, then we'll all be good. However, you have to remember it's crazy cold here in Minnesota at this time of year, so I don't blame people for not wanting to travel up here at this time. Now, I have Tyler in a similar head and arm position that I did from before, but I'm not even connecting my hands, so you can tell I'm not going for the choke at all. Instead, I'm just abusing his arm for positioning so I can work towards a guillotine. Now, that is a very cool submission, I must say. I use this first guillotine to realign his positioning and then trying to go over the arm. By going over the arm, I can bring his arm in tight and readjust myself for a better spot. I let go and I go for a second guillotine. Now, once I'm in this better position, I loop my hand through, and it's going to be a little hard to see everything because we have the wall against us, so the camera can't get in at that angle. But I am doing a regular arm out guillotine. I just have to apply a little bit of squeeze pressure and weight. I'm also basing with my head on the mat, so I have a strong base and he can't roll me over. I get the easy tap and then we move into round 3. I even jog over to my position because I'm ready to go. I realize that it takes a lot more cardio to get smashed than it does to do the smashing. Now, that could be mom joke number 3, but I'm not going to beat a dead horse because Tyler already knows that's how it goes. I get to use a little bit more wrestling this time around because Tyler's not going to pull guard or go for a rolling knee attack. He's grabbing my wrist and then I'm going to free my wrist to pummel for an underhook, move him around, then go for an easy double leg to get the takedown. We watch this again in slower motion. I pummel inside with the underhook, move him in one direction, then I'm quickly changing levels and I'm going for an easy double leg. Notice that I have my base over his legs so he can't lock guard. This gives me a really easy pass into side control. Also, we have guest appearance Ben in the background. He gets a little inspiration by Ben watching and he grabs the head, but only for a second before he decides to let go. I move into regular side control, but I'm pinching my head against his arm. I'm also bringing my left arm around his head for bonus head control. This is a nice little squeeze on the head and it creates a little bit of a triangle, but then he's trying to scoot out underneath me and I'm going to counter it by going over his arm and trapping it with my legs. I love this position. Even if there aren't a ton of submissions, I just like to sit here, and this is a great spot for MMA, as you're going to see, because I'm going to apply some deadly ground and pound to Tyler's ribs. Oof, those are some huge shots. I'm even going to be a little bit of a dick, and I take my thumb and I rub his floating rib because I know how uncomfortable this makes people. I am going to ease up on this. I don't really care to do that too long, and he's going to give me a really good position. He starts going into turtle, so I take his back, but when he spins out, I get under his elbow and I get the head and arm choke immediately. Let's watch this one again. As he turns into turtle, which is a fine play, he doesn't have his elbows tucked in enough. So when I start to go towards his back and his elbows open up, I can scoot under the arm and immediately grab a head and arm choke and hop over the guard. Now this one is tight immediately and I get a quick tap at the end of the round. That brings us to the end of the video. So if you appreciate the video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, if you're a current patron, make sure to check out the page because I just released an unfiltered Basalt Ben video. There's no commentary, but he was acting a little crazy, so I couldn't upload that one to YouTube. If you want to check it out, just make sure to check out my Patreon page. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and subscribe if you haven't already. Even my dog really likes my channel. He likes it so much that he feels like he has to sit in my chair with me.